Hello there.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
There's the man behind all the legendary.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 43 of Behind the MasterMinds. And we're very excited to have DAVIDE from UNIT9 on the show today. But as always, we're going to start our show with the Raffle Drawing first.
Yeah. So let me
see who's going to win the free game for
Stolen at Sea by Escape Notice Games.
All right, here. Are you ready?
Especially, well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great game because you can take with you anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for going like on a cruise because you don't need internet connection for the game.
Cruise, yes.
And it's about a cruise.
Yeah.
Drumsticks, here we go. Ready? And... Hey, Karen! Congratulations! See, she put the peace sign and she got it right. Wow! Yeah. All right. So,
all right, we're gonna start with introductions. I'm not even gonna. I'm not sure if we're gonna have enough time even to read through his entire resume.
Yeah, no.
During this 1 hour show.
We need longer than an hour show for that.
So we're gonna summarize some of the major highlights of his career. So here we go.
All right, Davide, I'm gonna try to bang this. I might even start rapping it, but
Feel free to do that.
Davide is the head of entertainment for UNIT9. He is an award-winning executive creative director, strategist, writer, and content creator. For nearly 15 years, he has been involved in the entertainment industry, helping film studios, TV networks, streaming platforms, and gaming companies bring their properties to international audiences, shaping pop culture. He has directed complex and extensive Hollywood theatrical TV launches, working on properties such as the X-Men movies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Saw, Spider-Man, John Wick, and I know there's a lot more, but we'll stop there for now. Executing original and ambitious global campaigns, stunts, and experiential activations on a large scale, all while delivering to clients such as Warner Brothers Pictures, Lionsgate, Amazon Prime Videos, Netflix, Disney Plus, Sony Pictures, and 20th Century Studios.
Oh my goodness.
Consistent performances across the board and establishing a direct dialogue with the fan base. A success deriving from a deep understanding of human online to offline interaction and fan-forward creative strategies.
Well, that's really cool because we're all about online now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But their company also does a lot of other major campaigns for video games, and to name a few: Gear of Wars, Final Fantasy, EverQuest. In addition, they also do commercials for clients like Coca-Cola, Gucci, BMW. I mean, we can't really talk about everything today, so we're just going to be focusing on main stuff on a few projects like the pop-up escape rooms that you've done for Game of Thrones and Jigsaws.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so Davide, are you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in.
All right. So question number one for you is, tell us a little bit more about yourself in terms of background. Like, when did you start and how long have you been working for UNIT9 as head of entertainment? What is your primary focus?
Okay. Well, I've been in the industry for about 15 years, originally from Italy. I moved to LA in 2013, but I actually came here for college. So I've been basically back and forth from Italy and the United States since '98. I've been with UNIT9 for about 5 years now, but before that we were doing projects and collaborations way before coming on board as a full-time head of entertainment. And the company UNIT9 was basically started in Italy in '97, and today we have headquarters in London and LA, as well as silos offices throughout Europe and Asia that kind of give us the chance to implement kind of like this 24-hour run-of-the-mill, fully effective machine that turns around very cool and concepts and executes things on multiple markets, and also we have basically access to a global talent pool. I mean, internally we have 5 main divisions. So we have UNIT9 Films that does TV commercials and live action shoots, and we have 30 directors that we represent. UNIT9 Digital that does websites, emerging new digital technologies like machine learning, AI, second screen experiences, HTML5. UNIT9 Games, then XR, and then all the innovation stuff, which is like experiential and stunts.
So where does head of entertainment fit in with that? Is that like the overall for all of them, or is that its own division?
Yeah.
So as a head of entertainment, it's kind of like a triple role. It's a hybrid role. It's I kind of do serve as an ECD, so it's an executive creative director, as well as a strategist and a new business development for the entertainment sector. So basically, I serve as the single point of contact for film studios, TV networks, streaming platforms, and gaming companies, as well as brands that want to embrace entertainment as a format. So like a Nike that wants to drop a shoe, but do it in a way that kind of like a film studio would drop a movie, or that embrace kind of like the type of mechanic type of engagement, would also fit into that umbrella. And of course, then I lead a much wider team. I mean, behind us, I mean, there's 250 people at UNIT9, so it's a pretty large team. But whenever the brief comes in from entertainment studios and things like that, I kind of usually am the main point of contact, and then sometimes I go in and read the scripts. Nowadays, they send it to me because we can't go in person anymore. But
yeah, you're a really important guy.
He's like liaison between like many different departments.
Yeah.
Really important.
Everybody, make sure you stick around because we're going to show you some of his work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Coming up soon, very soon. Okay, so let's get right to the projects you worked on, as we have a lot to cover today. I wanted to get to our questions as well as the audience's. So if audience, you have any questions for him, feel free to type that in. We're also like you said, we're going to show a few trailers that we're going to be representing like some of the projects that he's done before.
Right.
So let's start with the trailer for the Jigsaws pop-up escape room.
Yeah, here we go. Oh man.
So tell us about this project. How long did it take to build? How did you get these volunteers to willingly go there? And then definitely tell us how Toby y'all got involved.
Okay, so the stunt was basically done at New York Comic Con. For the release of Jigsaw, which at the time was the latest installment in the Saw franchise. We worked directly with Lionsgate. We pitched them the idea of building the escape room for Saw, because Saw is the definition of escape room. Basically, it's the franchise that kind of like introduced the idea of escaping, to survive. So right. it was pretty much like it was dumbfounding me that it hadn't been done yet. So we pitched the idea of doing an escape room, and they loved it immediately. So I think the production time was about 8 weeks from start to finish. We built it here in LA, and we built it in a modular way out of shipping containers. We had like 4 shipping containers that were basically welded together, but done in a modular way, so that the client could access it, test it. We could do the scenics, the props, and rig it and do everything here. And then once approved, we would basically put it on a flatbed on a truck, and we drove it out to New York. And then it was reassembled. It was reassembled on site.
How long does the assembly take? Like, how long does that take? Like, do you take
usually
everything
one
apart?
day. Yeah, well, what's inside was built in a way that it could be anchored, so when transporting it wouldn't fall off or anything, in terms of scenics and props and things like that. But basically the 4 pieces were then put on the flatbed, like one after the other, and then loaded into the Javits Convention Center. And once they're usually load in and tear down is a 1 day and 1 day each. Sometimes if the install is really large, we would do like 2 days or 3. Because you need to also test, but this was thoroughly tested, so we were confident that doing 1 day of load in was enough. And then it ran for the 4 days of the Comic-Con. So Thursday night was preview night, so when we had like the Fandango partnership, which is what you saw in the movie theater. So basically, we teamed up with Fandango, and we did a secret screening of the movie in advance, but people didn't know that we were actually going to basically creep up on them and ask people if they wanted to volunteer for something really special. So we put on bucket heads on them, and we literally chained them up and dragged them across at night across New York. And
when New Yorkers will participate in these crazy
it's like this is a regular Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they took off their bucket head, they were basically inside of the escape room. So that's when you would see the counter start. The TV screen came on. Jigsaw himself like welcomes you and takes you. Do you want to play a game? And the rules of the games were there, which was a super cool part of this project because I personally got to write and script the lines for Tobin Bell himself to record in a sound booth and play over the sound system.
Did you know you were gonna have him from the beginning, or was that like a last minute like surprise special?
But he's very well known for being open to participating in these type of stunts and things like that. He's very fan forward. So we immediately asked, can we get Tobin Bell? And they told us yes. So I was absolutely in it. And the cool thing was that if you survived, basically that was your prize. When the door opens, then you get to have like a photo op with Tobin Bell himself.
Wow. Maybe we should reach out to him, see if he'll play online escape room. See how open he is.
Only if you survive.
Yeah. So tell us, like, what type of production timeline, budget, and manpower does it take to create a pop-up escape room project like this?
Well, there's a lot of parameters. The production timeline, usually these type of things are in a 10 to 12 weeks is the kind of like the sweet spot. But a lot of times, because of the way the internal studio's approval, layers happen, we end up with a lot less. So we have to do a lot of overtime. So, you got to reverse engineer from whatever you have. And a lot of times you might know that you have 6 weeks to do everything from start to finish. So whatever the design and the build ends up being needs to keep into account what the production timeline is. In terms of budget, it really depends. It depends. There's a portion of it that goes to the actual production, the physical build and everything, the electronics. It depends on if you're also testing new emerging technology in it. Like there could be an escape room that has like a holographic projection. There could be something that has, an AI built into it that kind of guides you to do things or whatever. So the cost is really, it's a wide range of spectrum, but also you need to factor in, like in this case, if like where it lives, like is it going to be running in LA or is it going to be running in New York? So you need to account like transportation, you need to account cost of insurance, the cost of running it, permit, location, and a lot of the times you have to work with the city and in order to secure that type of permits well ahead of time. Like if you want to do something in Times Square, you need to work with like the Times Square Alliance and the City of New York and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you have to warn the cops that you're not actually kidnapping people on that night? Just so you don't get in trouble?
It's like nothing to see here. Just chaining people up.
Just chaining people and just dragging them across New York streets to the Javits.
I think I just missed that year of Comic-Con. Like I thought I was the year before after that one. So I was like, no, but I wouldn't have had the opportunity because I think you have to be like a selected member to
randomly picked or what from the.
What you mean to be? You had to basically be in the screening room. Like it was a surprise for the Fandango Prime membership.
How many people was that?
I think it was about 60 people in the screening room, and then whoever volunteered in the crowd was basically the picked ones. And I think we ended up with 3 groups of 4. That actually got to go on preview night, and then the escape room was open for the following 3 days for anybody that was at Comic-Con.
Yeah, but not with Tobin Bell available.
No, not with Tobin Bell. That was only the preview night. Yeah.
So what do you guys have to bring on another team for just the puzzle aspect of it, or was it done? That's also done internally.
It's all done internally. We're like the biggest geeks and nerds when it comes to this type of stuff. So this is like a dream project material. So whenever these type of things come through the pipeline, we're like, yes, we get to do one of those.
Nice. Okay, so you have the teams ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well now let's take a look at what you've done for HBO.
I need to know what that chair is made out of.
Yeah.
Like how did you get that there?
It was actually made out of real swords, and I'm just kidding.
Sign a disclaimer before sitting down.
Oh my goodness!
All right,
so it was actually a replica of the real throne. So it was following the blueprint and the design from the throne in the show.
Yeah, some of these pop-up experiences really looks like a lot better than some of the real ones we've been to.
Yeah, definitely.
Like they're so real.
This is on the next level of type of pop-up experiences. So all right, so let's talk about the trailer.
This kind of serves as a branding experiment too, because it's it was done at 4 colleges, but then it was also done at South by Southwest. So given the importance of the festival itself and the volume of people that go there, we kind of pride ourselves to, step it up a whole notch when it comes to like production value of the set building and things, and the attention to details is like we're maniacs when it comes to, you can literally find me like looking at like rust details. I'm like, no, this didn't trip right over here. So it's like we really zone in on those things. But this was really cool because it's a multi-property escape room. So it was Silicon Valley, Veep, and Game of Thrones. So it was basically a marketing stunt for HBO as a brand. It wasn't to promote just a specific show launch or show season. It was more like, this is HBO. These are 3 of the most successful properties that are on HBO. So that's why we created this. It's basically, it's like 3-room escape room, and as you move from one room to the other, you basically jump from one show to the other.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
you have some questions about that, I know.
Yeah, so we realize now that there was a series under HBO called HBO The Escape. Was this an idea that you guys pitched to them about creating an escape room for all their top shows? Or, and also, is this a series that they'll have going forward? Like, will this happen again? I don't think so. Like it's not connected to the series that they were doing, because I believe this was 2017, so this was prior to that, and it was a one-off in the sense that we ran it at the colleges, and it was so successful at the 4 campuses that then they wanted to rerun it at South by. But after that, it was intended to be just that. Right.
But yeah, it resonated a lot. Like if they felt like it was a format that would resonate a lot with the target demo, which was the college students at the time, and which kind of overlaps very well with the type of tech and geek and that type of demographic that goes to South by Southwest and film and TV shows enthusiasts.
Right. And I think the level of quality that you put together is mainly because you put together what you would want to see. Like, you're like, oh, this is how I would want to experience it, so let me create that experience for these players or for the customers.
Absolutely. I mean, I always say we are fans first and foremost.
Fans first. Right.
We kind of like approach every project from a fan perspective, like what me as a fan would want to see in a Saw escape room or in a John Wick project or whatever else type of thing it is, because it in a way, like, these worlds and these characters belong to the fans. That's the true definition of pop culture. So you have to treat them with the kind of like the utmost respect, because if you don't have that level of granular detail and details don't lock into place with the narrative and the story building, etc., then the whole notion of the suspension of disbelief kind of falls down, and all you're left with is the gimmick. So we don't want it to come across as gimmicky. We want it to feel like a natural extension of the franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Lilly wants to know, like, are there HBO set designers helping out to make sure the rooms are accurate?
No, we generally get refer material ahead of time. We ask if there's any props that we can use from the show. If there's anything that's specific that needs to be used. I don't know if there's like, not necessarily for HBO, but in general for any project. If there's a movie that's coming out that has an iconic prop or set piece that needs to be replicated, we usually ask if there's access to that, or if we can get the designs to accurately replicate it.
So did you ask for the access to the throne just to have it?
Can we borrow it?
For like a day, so you can sit on it yourself?
You'd be surprised at how many of those thrones they've actually built.
There's more than one.
Oh, they have backups just in case?
Oh yeah, because a lot of times they shoot in different continents, they shoot in different locations at the same time, and based on the availability of where you can shoot this scene, it has to be moved. But also there's a lot of them that were built for marketing material as well. So it's...
So I saw that there was a live actor that was laying on the floor there, right, on the corner. Does he have to be there like for the whole day?
Yep.
Okay.
But he's laying down though. It's
hilarious because that jump scare moment got everybody so like terrified, because you don't it looks like a mannequin. It looks like a set piece, and then this guy just like gets up and like grabs your ankle, and like everybody just freaks out.
That's so cool.
I'm surprised like no one went over to like search on it, because that's what
we don't know that. Yes, we don't know that.
They did, and that's when like you could wake up and like scare the crap out of them.
Okay.
I think the closest I got to sit in the Iron Throne was when we were in Hungary. They had a nice like replica in one of the escape rooms.
The Dubrovnik one.
Yeah, and Mystic room in
That was a cool one.
Hungary. That was really cool. Matthew has another question. Wants to know, do you get to keep the props afterwards? That's a good question.
Yeah, I wish.
That would be nice.
It's a loner.
He's like, yeah, I have to throw in my house right now.
Yeah.
In the basement.
No, it's funny because a lot of these things are very, very safely guarded. When we did the Jigsaw escape room, we had the actual bucket head from Jigsaw with the one with lasers, and we had a few other things that we had to basically borrow from James Wan and the producers, and so those were actually brought separately by Lionsgate with like a specific vehicle and everything, and they're safely guarded. They were just on display and then they returned to the producers afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, one more question.
Yeah, we got one more from Eric. Wants to know how much time typically goes to concerting versus production.
Conception and it really depends. It's on a project by project. It's on a client by client base. It depends on how granular and how detailed you need to be. Some people like to stay and stick as close to the narrative of the film as possible, so we might have to go through different rounds of approvals and iterations to get exactly the mechanics right. Other ones assume that since this serves as a marketing vehicle for the movie and people have not seen the movie yet, you can have a more loose adaptation, just as long as you have those key pieces that then when they go watch the movie they can connect, oh, that's what was in the escape room, or that's what was in that stunt, now I get it, type of thing.
Gotcha. Just goes to show, whatever you type, I read out, and I could be in trouble. So.
Oh yeah.
But thank you for that, Eric.
Do not be too quick. So we noticed that these pop-ups were built on college campuses. Like, do you guys usually do some sort of research and beforehand to see like if those are, you know, the campuses that you want to put in, because those are like your majority like audience? Like, how do you pick the location? Because I would like to, you know, have that at my campus location.
Yeah, where were they back then?
Well, it really depends, again, on a project by project. We are, our business model is that of a production company, but we also, we like to consider ourselves a production agency, which means that you get the agency treatment plus the full know-how of a production company. In the case of the HBO one, that information already came with the agency that was working directly with HBO, so we had that, we knew that we were going to run it at these 4 campuses. And other times, like, we might be tasked with doing that type of research, or we might have a partner that does that basic service as a standalone service. So it really depends on the specific project.
Got it. And do you do marketing as well?
As in,
like all the social media like push outs for these projects are coming out. Like, is that
it depends. Sometimes we do what we call premium social units, which is the more elevated type of stuff. But usually TV studios, film studios, TV networks, and streaming platforms have their internal teams that manage the social campaigns and basically post it and monitor it. We might do some. A lot of these things actually fall within the social promotional content stuff too, because like once you've run the whole thing, we generally film everything as it happens. So as you can see, the trailers that you're showing basically then get posted on the official film accounts, and they become almost like an additional trailer for the film ahead of the release of the movie.
Right, like I saw some like construction being built for the room in the HBO. So that's already like social media content right there.
And then there was another thing which we could have mentioned prior to this, but you said you were talking about it on the show. But I saw like Stranger Things where the premiere is, and then you did a little thing for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did. That was actually for the first season of Stranger Things. So nobody knew the show yet, and it was a pretty interesting challenge because like, how do you hype a show that's like, you know, doesn't have a recognizable cast, that there wasn't anything like that before it. But what we did was basically we had a special event for press and influencers, and we basically put them inside of a screening room, and while they were watching the first 2 episodes of the first season, we flipped the entire neighborhood around the venue upside down, and we turned it into Hawkins and the upside down. So we had like cars on fire, we had like self-driving bikes. When they came out, we had like the lab scientists with the white hazmat suits and the little flaky fog like in the show. We had a hologram of Will from the upside down, so it was really cool. And then we also did a segment for social where we scared the crap out of the cast.
I saw that.
Yeah, there was a lot of things moving on its own.
Yeah, we rigged the whole interview room where they do the press junket and stuff, and we were basically replicating things that happened in the show in the room to kind of mess with them and turn
That's
off
so
the
cool
lights.
because they're completely blindsided. They think they're just going for a regular press conference, and all of a sudden, wait, something's happening during our interview.
Yeah.
You kind of feel bad because they were so young at the time.
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown.
She was screaming and everything, and then she's like, "Oh, she's so cute." I'm like, "No, she's like really scared."
I know, exactly. We feel terrible because it looks like we're messing with them with kids.
Oh my god. And then also speaking of like other events, I know one of you feeling like you're on cloud 9 when you're winning this raffle. UNIT9 will be able to allow you to get a chance to have an exclusive advance look or sneak peek at their next secret project.
I'm entering too.
As they get closer to the launch. So type in, "I want to be on cloud 9.
I want to be on cloud 9
to enter for the raffle.
Yeah. You guys sure know how to bring live entertainment audiences in so many fun and really creative, unique ways. Where did the idea come from for Facebook users to like and comment in order to trigger a flamethrower to melt a block of ice in order to reveal the launch date of season 8 of Game of Thrones? Like, where does that come from? Like,
Season 7. That was it was one of those things where, again, we're the biggest nerds and fans of the show itself, so we know that season 7 was based on Fire and Ice.
Season 7.
Yeah.
I thought it was for season 8.
No, it was season 7, which was the one where like HBO was so smart by basically cleverly starving fans from any news. Like nobody knew when this thing was going to drop. They were delaying it, and everybody was going crazy to know when this thing would air and when it would premiere. So it came in as a very somewhat of a vague brief. It was literally like, what can we do to announce season 7 of Game of Thrones? And we came up with the idea of forging the date in metal, putting this metal plate inside of a 4,000-pound block of ice, and build the first ever Common Power flamethrower.
Well, before we get into it, let's give our viewers, if they weren't part of that experience, maybe they can take a look at it right now. Let's give them an idea of what we're talking about.
Okay.
So did Facebook like contact you guys and be like, "Stop it, you're breaking up twice. Like we need
our
to
servers
like
are down."
It was very funny because basically all the Facebook people, when the service crashed, went out of the sound stage, and the only one that was left was the intern. But it's like.
Oh my goodness.
That's so funny.
Wait, so how did you why did you decide Facebook over Instagram or Twitter? Well, you can't do live on Twitter, I don't think. Well, back then you couldn't.
But that's
but back then it was it was the very early days of Facebook Live.
Okay.
And so it felt like the right place because it was going to be a world first. This was, before, COVID and the pandemic made the immersive live stream a thing. So I think it was 2017. So it was ahead of the curve for sure. So, and it was the first time that we had basically integrated a Facebook chatbot into a live stream event, because we built the chatbot that would listen to key commands like fire, Dracarys, or the fire emoji, which would trigger the flamethrower, and then as people would type, the flamethrower would melt the ice.
Well, hey everybody!
They wanna break the internet. We actually crashed their servers, so.
Everybody, click your fire emojis. I'll go get my flamethrower, and we'll see how many we can back up right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, the question with the ice thing, right? Like, where is that produced? Like, where did you guys have the seat set?
This was actually shot all here in LA. It was on a sound stage here in the Valley. So we built the dungeon. We had I think it was 9 or 10 weeks total from ideation to actual execution, and we prototyped the 3 of these things, because you have to go through prototyping to figure out what is the sweet spot, to figure out how big the block of ice needs to be, how hot the flame needs to be, how much chemical reactant needs to be in the water, and we knew that we had 1 hour basically to melt it, because that's kind of like what the calculation was, that it was going to be the sweet spot before you start losing people when you go on. And also it was aired at 10 a.m. on a Thursday Pacific time.
That's what we missed.
It's pretty strategic, because that gives you the West Coast and the East Coast, but you can also still catch Europe and Europe.
Yeah. Well, I must say, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, but to take one of the most watched shows with the most loyal fan base, and to take that to another level of how to present a premiere date at that, like, with that quality, I mean, that's insane, Davide. That's just...
It was a super, super fun one. I mean, I have to give credit to the entire UNIT9 team, just raised the bar on that one, from our set designers, because we built the dungeon, to the technologists with the integration of the digital layer and the narrative and everything. That's truly like one of those dream projects coming true.
Absolutely.
So, like, when you guys...
lucky to work on things like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. When you guys receive one of these projects, what is the process normally like? Like brainstorming for ideas, budget, like how big is your whiteboard?
It depends. Like this one, for instance, came in through 360i, which is the agency that works with HBO. So we served as production company on this one. Other times we work directly with the client, like in the case of the John Wick one. I mean the Jigsaw one with Lionsgate directly. So it really depends. Sometimes we'll come on board very early on, like even as early as like first script is available. We'll read the script and kind of brainstorm with the client and kind of give them ideas. Other times they already have in mind what they want to do and they look at us to actually execute it. Or sometimes there's a third version where they know what they want to do, but they want to kind of one-up it. So like they look at us of like, what is emerging technologies or other things that we could do to make this better or cooler, or would this work, or how would you make it work, etc.
Right.
That actually brought me to thinking about like the one that I saw on your website for the Candy Crush, where you had like projections of Candy Crush live play on a huge.
That was a heart attack type of project,
right? Because if one doesn't work, it'll look really weird. Like one is missing.
Well, that was so they kept on saying we want to go big. So it was for the launch of the Candy Crush Friends saga, and they kept on saying we want to go big, and we literally asked them, can we go biggest, as in like
size.
Like, no, can we do, because it ended up being the Guinness Book of World Record, we had the Book of World Record people there to officialize that it was the biggest real-time projection mapping on an architectural building ever done. And
really?
It was really crazy.
And the cool thing is that because of the shape of the building that was done in New York was irregular, we basically built our own version of Candy Crush so that it would fit the canvas, and we built a 1:100 scale model of the building in our office to project onto.
Wow.
So it was really cool, and then we threw a party underneath it. So we had like Little John playing music, but it was one of those where like because of the weather was so bad, it was pouring rain. It took us like 2 days just to calibrate the projectors because we were projecting from across the river. So we had the projection rig across the river, and that the building was on this other side. But it was pouring rain, and like the NYPD was like this close to actually pulling the power. But then it stopped, and all of a sudden, it
was meant to be.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool one.
Yeah, these are the stuff that you have to kind of anticipate, right? Like things like rain, which you probably wouldn't.
Especially for film, rain is always like a tricky one.
Or internet, electricity. There's so much that I feel like goes into the live productions, and especially it's going live, and then if something goes, so you have backup plans for all of this stuff.
Yeah, you always have to have like fail-safe, backup plans. And what's the plan B, plan C, and plan D in case like all three fall.
Right. I wish we had time to air all of these incredible videos we're talking about, but you can visit unit9.com, and I believe most of them are on there that he's able to disclose. We know that a lot of us are huge fans of The Queen's Gambit, which is an amazing show that was on Netflix recently, and so we have to take a look at what they did in Union Station in LA. Oh my god! Yeah, of course you have to put the chessboard on the ceiling, in large scale format. That's
that's such an iconic sequence in the show that our mind just kept on going there. What if we could actually replicate what was going on in her mind, but in the real world? So that was a super fun one. We did this one this past. It was the end of December and beginning of January. And this is a true testament of how visionary Netflix as a studio is, because your traditional client would have been why would we spend that much to do something during a pandemic as an activation that only a few people can visit at Union Station in LA? But they understand that this rise at the intersection between performance and installation art and marketing and branding. So building this and then filming it, and then they released the making of on their official Netflix, and that became basically a huge hit and got a lot of views too. So it serves again, but it's also part of a wider campaign, which is a One Story Away, which is Netflix's first true branding campaign. So they're using different properties that are their flagship legacy properties to kind of promote Netflix as a brand.
Right.
So this one was One Story Away, mastering the game,
Well, speaking of Union Station, is it the client that usually picks the location and what they want to do, or do you pitch the idea and because of how amazing it sounds, they decide to run with it?
I believe in this case we pitched the idea, and we give them a few options because you never know where you're going to be able to run it. Options range from Grand Central Station in New York to Union Station in LA to other high foot traffic locations or whatever. But then you have to engage with them and see from the permitting standpoint or from the city standpoint where you can actually do it, as well as from a budgeting standpoint what your budget allows you to do and where. In this case, being that we were local, we were a lot more knowledgeable with the COVID proofing aspect of things that needed to be done here in LA. So we executed it here in LA. But we generally pitch the locations. But sometimes some clients actually have their preferred spots as well, because they've already activated in that location. They got some really good KPIs and metrics, so they want to redo it there. Other times it kind of needs to fit the narrative too, though. So
yeah,
the narrative,
definitely.
That makes sense. Yeah. I feel like you're missing a few of those little couchies, so you could just lay underneath it and watch the chess pieces.
Well, is this still there? Is this still there, or do you have to take it down?
No. It was it ran from, I believe, December 17th to mid-January.
Oh, it's so short.
Yeah, it's such a nice display. They should have just kept it part of the the core of the location. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Budgeting again.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess in this one, I feel like the engineer really had to make sure the safety of those, pieces are hanging on the wall, won't fall down, or things like that. Do you have your own in-house engineer and construction team?
Yeah, we have all fabricators and builders and designers, and yeah. There was actually an initial design of this that was a little more intricate, but because of timing, we couldn't actually get to do that one. But we had actually motorized pieces that would move.
Wow.
And be upside down, but yeah.
How do you see it? So you have a button and then it
it's
went up.
Magnetic track, so it would slide. But again, the testing and R&D and needed to be able to do that didn't match the production timeline. But we did have there's an element of it that doesn't really come across fully from the case study. There was some lighting effects that were kind of making the projection of the shadows of the chess pieces move as we were looking at it. So it was very cool and dramatic at night, especially with the lights.
Yeah, I can imagine, because it's like the scene, like
Yeah.
at nighttime. When wow, that's
Oh, we have a question.
yeah.
Angela.
Angela wants to know, what do you do with those items once you take them down? Good question. Yeah.
Sometimes
Those are
the
storage or-
clients will keep them in their own. Sometimes they end up being like office pieces. Sometimes they end up being reused for other activations or like touring exhibits or things of that sort. Other times they get completely dismantled.
Oh,
Okay.
that's so sad.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought you had like some serious storage display case of previous work.
Well, 'cause sometimes it costs more to store it than to just.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Angela, it sounds like you want to like take them if they don't
Yeah.
want it or something.
I think she's willing to. She's willing to buy them for her games.
She's like, we don't need it. So, we have a lot of game creators in our community. Any advice for them in terms of creating engaging content? Just share a little bit of your formula of success, if you could.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I know.
There's so much that you can do. I think it's specifically in what we do. It's always like reverse engineer what could the headline be. Like why people would talk about this. What would a newspaper article or like a headline on a blog or whatever sound like, and then. Because that's ultimately what the client wants. They want something that gets talked about, that is like the first ever, or the largest, the biggest, the coolest, the never done before type of thing. So always like try to raise the bar in terms of creativity and technology, and in doing that, always make sure that you come from a narrative standpoint that fits the brand, that fits the story, and that fits the client. Because like you wouldn't be able to pitch, I don't know, like an AI activated thing for the Queen's Gambit. It doesn't fit the narrative and the context and the background of the story. So it needs to come, again, as a fan, kind of reach deep in and kind of understand like what could we position, what could we do, so that it gets talked about and it gets to the fans. In terms of specifics, it really depends, because like again, there's so many verticals. You can do game design for actual games, you can do experiential marketing, which kind of blends physical setups with gamified elements. But now COVID has kind of fast-tracked a lot of the processes and trends that were already happening before. Like we were doing digital layer integration on physical activations before, like the Game of Thrones one, or even the Jack Ryan escape room that we did at Comic-Con, where people are physically present there, but if you can turn a local event into a global event by just having like a live stream integration into it. So I think that a lot of these things are now here to stay, and a lot of clients and people were kind of like not as inclined to do them now understand the true power of it. Like the Jack Ryan one, for instance, it's a 5-room, 2-story escape room powered by voice. So we had like 130 Alexa powered devices, and it was the first basically escape room that was activated by your voice. But we knew that it's a 30-minute experience. You have 4 days during New York Comic-Con. So if you do the math during the opening time, you can basically get a cap of 4,000 people through. So how do you get more bang for your buck? So we actually worked with 3 Twitch influencers, and we basically kidnapped them, hijacked their feed, and locked them inside the escape room and told the internet that they could play along. So at any given time, we had 1.5 million people tuning in from across the globe, affecting what was happening in real time on location. So you turn a local event into a global, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's.
We tried to do a live stream to play escape room.
Yeah,
we didn't get 1.5 billion, but we got a good amount of people joining us. But it was fun. I like these kind of things though, the interactiveness through the comments and while people are watching, because it feels like you're able to be at a space where you're so far away from everyone, but then this is a point where you can unite somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did one for the launch of season 5 of Outlander this last year in February, as we were going, end of February, beginning of March, as we were going in lockdown. We basically built this 10-foot tall hourglass that was motorized. And then in the neck portion of it, it has a dynamically adjustable diaphragm that would react to the volume of people engaging with the live stream. So the more people would watch, the more people would comment, the more this thing would dilate and let more sand through. And then once the whole thing emptied out, it rotated on itself, kind of mimicking traveling through time, because the whole show deals with time travel. Yeah. And it unlocked this secret compartment, and then the cast from the show reached in and they found the scroll and they read the message to the fans, and it basically said that they had unlocked the first episode of season 5 exclusively available on the app at midnight.
Wow.
So it kind of gives the fans at home like agency and a front row seat to.
Yeah, they feel like they're a part of it. Like,
yeah,
like
they did something in order for this to happen. Like,
yeah,
because usually that type of stuff is like, it was a red carpet premiere that we kind of like gamified, and usually those things are just for press or for people local in LA at whatever venue. But this basically brought the fans at the forefront and gave them the power to unlock it and basically the Outlander cast and stars showing love back to the fans for being so loyal.
Davide, we want you to create our red carpet experience for our Bullseye Awards next year. with interaction with the crowd.
Stick around.
We'll have to take a loan out of the bank or something, though. So we see that you guys also are heavily involved in the AR and VR and gaming industry, which is another really important reason why we have you on our show. Will you be incorporating any of these into escape rooms? Does UNIT9 have any future puzzle/escape room related projects that you could tell us about?
We do have AR-based puzzle things that we're working on. I can't really tell you anything.
Too many NDA forms.
Yeah. We just did one for Verizon for the Met. It was called the Met Unframed, which was really, really cool. Basically, when the pandemic hit and all the museums and the venues started shutting down, we were presented with this really cool opportunity from Verizon to promote their 5G network. And basically, the idea is if you can't go to the Met, we'll bring the Met to you. Yeah. So we completely digitalized the entire museum. We recreated a faithful replica in 3D of all the wings of the Met. And it was a web AR project, so basically you don't have to download an app or install anything. You just go to www.themetunframed.com and it's right there. And then it's a gamified experience. So basically we test your knowledge of art. You move around with your phone and as if you were visiting the Met, and then you can unlock 50 different art pieces by having trivia questions answered correctly, figuring out little puzzles, cracking codes and things of that sort. And then if you do, you can actually take the art on loan for 15 minutes and put it in your house, and you can take a snapshot of that.
Oh my goodness. I could put wow.
Yeah.
Wait, we need to get you at the Louvre so I could put the Mona Lisa on our wall.
There you go.
It's for 15.
This sounds like something that might be worth the direction of where our world is going towards. I mean, who knows what's going to happen when we'll get back to
the results of that thing were pretty amazing. Like we got visitors from 148 countries. We got more traffic than the real Met, like the real foot traffic during a single day of the Met. And right now it's like competing as a finalist in 3 different categories for Campaign of the Year for Campaign Magazine. It was a super, super fun and super ambitious one. It definitely raised the bar on the tech, especially because of web AR, because now you don't have to download anything. Then you can start doing things like cloud streaming of 3D meshes, and without getting too geeky on those things, but because of 5G and the fast bandwidth, you're able to get a lot more low latency and high fidelity quality content on your phone.
Is that still available, by the way, if people wanted to go check it out?
The Met.
It actually closed because it was a 5-week special thing, and we were unlocking a new wing every week.
Oh, okay. Why didn't they just keep it? Like, is there a cost to keep a web like game on
It's it's a Verizon internal strategy thing. I don't know exactly. Can't really speak to that, but
I'm just surprised
definitely
the Met
reasons
didn't
why.
want to transfer this to their like website as an alternative
Well,
option.
they want people to visit still in person.
Yeah, but
It's reopened now, so it probably has something to do with that too. But the fact that people that have never been to the Met before, that are in other countries, can actually visit it and experience, a gamified experience was really cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also, what other projects can you tell audience about other than the ones you have NDAs with? Probably a lot. That's coming out in the near future, or has recently just released that they should check out. That's still available.
We just announced the League of Legends Wild Rift. We did a YouTube live event where it's called Battle of Baron, where people basically use crowdsource commands to kill this giant like monster and basically unlock the new expansion in Oceania and other 4 regions, which actually broke.
Broke something again.
Broken.
You guys are known for broken things.
Yeah, the record of like a live. I think we had 1.7 million comments on a YouTube live chat over the course of the 30 minute of the live stream.
Wow.
And then what else did we just release? I mean, we have stuff coming out all the time. We just released Messi messages. If you play soccer, football, you know Messi. So we released this web app that lets you basically select your name and your friend's name, and using deep fake technology, and both from video and audio, it basically makes Messi say your name and your friend's name to deliver a fully customized message to them.
Huh. That's cool.
Oh my
goodness. Try it out.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Too many things going on.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you do have 250 people team, so it's sort of like constantly 24-hour working, right? Like when you get projects and it gets put out.
Well, the cool thing is that because we have offices across the globe, we have like this rolling block approach where the US does 8 hours and then hands over to the Asia team, and then they do 8 hours and then hands over to the UK team, and then they do so basically we managed to pack like 3 working days into a single one, and that's kind of like a secret sauce to getting things done. And
Right.
it requires a lot of very good communication though, because
All right, so we're about to play our game with Davide, which is called
Eat or drink.
Take a Drink. All right, Davide, what do you have to drink in front of you, sir?
I just have a Red Bull because it is 2:00 in the afternoon and I'm on an empty stomach, and
You can't go wrong with a Red Bull. It gives you wings.
yeah, exactly.
So this is
And they are
another
not sponsoring
flavor.
me.
I know, right? Not sponsoring.
This is another flavor that I'm trying. I'm always trying these new drinks. I love trying new drinks. This one is, I tried a different flavor last week. This is Alani Nu. You can go to the website, alaninew.com. They have more than drinks. They have like vitamin bars.
I saw that at Target, I think.
Yeah, that's where I picked this one up. And this is the watermelon wave flavor. Yeah. So the way that we play is we're going to ask Davide trivia questions. And I prepared the questions for you. The first 5 questions, or the 5 questions, are going to be based on projects that you've worked on.
Okay.
So there's no outside knowledge.
Is it multiple answer, or is it an open answer question? Okay.
It's an open answer.
Yeah, no multiple choice.
Right. And the last question is just a random question.
Okay.
So hold on, let me just bring our timer in because the timer is very important. Okay, here we go.
No pressure.
No pressure. So after we ask the question, you have 10 seconds to answer. If you get it right, I will drink. If you get it wrong, then you'll be sipping the Red Bull.
Okay.
Okay, number 1. Spyro is the latest installment from the Saw franchise scheduled for release on May 21st, 2021. How many films were there before Spyro?
7? Was it 7?
Is your answer 7? Is that your final answer?
I believe so.
Okay. That's all good.
Let me know how that Red Bull tastes.
Yeah, with 8.
It's 8. Yeah.
Okay.
It is 8. You're forgetting about 3D, I think, because then there was Jigsaws. So
Oh, that counts as 1. Okay.
All right. Our next question for you is: in the Queen's Gambit, what is the last name of the person that teaches Beth how to play chess?
Help from fans at home.
What was that?
I was asking for a lifeline from.
Oh, okay. Wait,
the fans at home.
you have 3 seconds for them to give you a lifeline. Here we go. Oh, that was the remaining 3 seconds.
Okay.
Anybody?
That's a hard one though. I can't even pronounce it.
The answer is Mr. Scheibel.
Oh
Or
yeah.
Scheibel.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna be drinking this whole Red Bull.
Yeah, he's gonna be really energized by the end of the show.
We're helping you. We're helping you.
Thank you.
Our third question, Cece.
What breed of dog was John Wick's dog? Daisy.
Daisy. Was that Cocker Spaniel? Beef.
Is that your final answer?
Well, Daisy. No, wait a
The
second.
one that got killed in the first one.
Oh, was it?
I don't even. Is that the same? No.
No,
Oh, okay.
it was a pure breed.
Oh, pure.
Wait, was it Beagle?
Yes!
Okay.
It was a beagle!
Okay.
Yeah! Orshi, yes, that's the right answer. You came in a little late though. All right, here we go. Watermelon Wave.
Alright. That was a good job.
Ooh, much better than Cosmic Stardust.
Okay.
All right, so the next question that we have. Well, hold on, let me bring this back. Next question is: in Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne is forged from how many swords?
500. I don't know.
Did you say 500?
Yeah.
Times 2.
1,000. Okay.
1,000 swords.
Wow, that's
Okay.
crazy. I didn't
That
know
is
about that. That
crazy,
is
yeah.
pretty amazing. 1,000 swords.
1,000
How do they
swords.
fit all that on there?
Question number 5, Cece.
In what year did Stranger Things begin? Oh,
No. In what year
in
does
what year does
Stranger Things begin?
Oh, like in the show.
Yes.
So,
1984.
wow, you gotta give them.
Yeah, I'll give that to you because you were off by 1 year. Well, actually, you're off by 1 year. What do you think? I'm still gonna drink. I'm just curious what you go with. Off by 1 year.
It starts at 83.
Yes. Good
Okay.
job.
He
Okay.
was pretty quick on that. He went right away. So.
All right, so I have a bonus question for you. It has nothing to do with any of the projects that you worked on that I know of because you have so many
But he's
NDAs.
a Marvel fan.
In Marvel's Avengers Infinity War,
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange went forward in time to see all the possible outcomes. How many were there?
Oh Lord. 1 million. I can never remember that number.
It's so crazy.
14,605,000
Okay.
and one possible victory outcome. Give it up to Davide. Thank you so much for playing that with us. It was a lot of
So
fun.
much pleasure, and we'll be watching. We'll be sure to watch all the UNIT9 future projects for sure. And I feel like people are just remembering like the wildness of the actual events, but they never know how many hours of hard work that was put into the back end of it. And of course, we gotta give a little shout out to UNIT9 for all of that.
Yes.
And keep the creative wheel spinning.
Oh, definitely. Well, we don't have to tell you because you're always spinning something.
Yeah, for sure. And next Friday, we have our good friend Escape Plan for London joining us on the show. We're going to attempt to play a little bit of their Kickstarter game, Stop the Train, live on our show. So this is a board game so that you have you're boarding a train and you're quickly discovering that there's a bomb on it. So you must cooperatively deduce which of your fellow passengers plans to sabotage the train and who are really trying to help you to get to like Paris safely.
Yeah.
So you'll have various cards that can help you during this board game to help you complete your agenda.
Yeah.
So join us next Friday, 4 p.m. to see if we'll survive this mission.
Right. And also, if you missed the middle part of the show, you can enter the raffle by typing in the secret phrase, I want to be on cloud 9.
And you can do that like for the next, until we release the next 2 episodes.
Episode 45.
45, yeah. That's when we'll announce the winner.
Also, we have a little clarification on the count of the letters.
Okay. So it's actually 30 to 49 because it's really just 20 letters and numbers and you have to form the phrase.
But
so
50.
When you form the phrase.
So 50, we'll
announce, well, we can't announce it because we're going to draw the raffle winner once that those answers come in.
Right, but you have up until, we're only giving the letters up until episode 49. Hopefully you've been collecting all of them and you'll decipher your phrase that you need to answer also.
Yeah.
Not just the phrase, don't just give us the phrase. We need an answer from it.
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll see you next Friday.
Thank you so much, Davide. And thank you
for having me.
UNIT9.
Thank you.
Good luck. Yeah, invasion.